Okay, and so in this video, we're going back to another video that we had covered. We had talked about the cypherpunks, and the cypherpunks had a 30-year effort to build a digital currency, and we know most of their names, and they generally knew who each other was. Although within the group there was a degree of privacy. Some of these people worked at big public companies. They wanted to keep their hobbies separate. But generally speaking, they all pretty much knew each other. Um, Yet in 2008, an unknown person or a group of people going by the anonymous name Satoshi Nakamoto contacted two of the more prominent cypherpunks, and he essentially told them he was about to release an idea similar to their Hashcash and B Money attempts. And this was one of the emails he sent to them. And Adam Back put him in touch with or put Satoshi Nakamoto in touch with the cypherpunks. And Adam Back's also on record saying he's never going to share his private correspondence with himself and Satoshi Nakamoto. And just a quick note about the name Cypherpunks. I know the name might seem a little silly. They're committed to privacy. But really, if you look at the people that were in this group, the body of work and the knowledge that they had accumulated, this group of people was really nothing short of experts. So this was the place to go if you were seeking to launch a digital currency. And then October 31st, 2008, the Bitcoin white paper was mailed out to the cypherpunks. And this was the email that Satoshi Nakamoto sent. This was a peer-to-peer e-cash protocol claiming that we can solve the double spend problem, and we do not need a bank or another third party. And this was the 9-page white paper. We'll cover more on this here in a minute. And the idea was initially largely dismissed, and most people didn't even read it. And it was just because of the approach. It kind of the person that kind of came out of nowhere to a group of people who all knew each other well. And this person was essentially saying, hey, this problem that you've been trying to solve for 30 years, I have solved it. But there was one person who did give a positive response, and that's Hal Finney. And Hal was extensively familiar with all the prior digital money attempts. He was a very big name in the cypherpunk movement. And he replied to Satoshi and said, "Hey, let's do this. I'll even help you build it." And so for the next 2 months, that's what they did. Together they worked on the Bitcoin code called the Bitcoin Core together. And then in 2009, the Bitcoin code was published and released. And this is the note from Satoshi Nakamoto, also to the cypherpunks. He made this code open source, freely available to anyone, just like PGP had been almost 20 years prior. And then afterwards, the number of users gradually grew. And this is about the best you can do. It's kind of hard to back into the number of users. And then also during this time, Satoshi had steadily lessened his communication with the group. And in December, he sent his very last message, very anticlimactic, no goodbyes or anything, just kind of this vague statement saying, I'm going to venture off into some more complex tasks. And then he just vanished. But he had a good reason for doing this. We're going to cover it in another video. But essentially, Bitcoin needed very much to be decentralized, and having a founder or a leader of Bitcoin would have been completely contrary to the idea of a decentralized network. So in conclusion, Bitcoin was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto. This was a person or a group of people operating under a fake name. And then Hal Finney was a significant help, at least at the very beginning, to Bitcoin. And then in December 2010, Satoshi completely disappears.